Hello, hello. Hi, happy new week. We are just coming into the second week of March. I can't believe how quickly this year is going already. It's been a really busy weekend. I was at WitchCon and I got to see some great presentations. I offered a presentation and I just thought that was such a wonderful event. Everyone I spoke with was so nice. It is, hi Lisa, it's International Women's Day today. We are so lucky to have one day, aren't we? Just the one. No, just kidding. I actually celebrate Women's Day every single day of my life. Every day is Women's Day here in the Goddess Temple. So I am glad that we have this day for the rest of the women in the world who maybe don't recognize how difficult women have it, to have a moment of realizing how difficult women have it. And hopefully one of these Women's Days, people will just start to change things in their own lives, because until we really achieve that kind of change where women on an everyday basis are standing up and saying, no, I am not here for your emotional labor. I'm not here to be taken advantage of. I'm not here to be your punching bag. I'm not here to be your underpaid labor. We can have all the legislation in the world, but what it really takes is individual women making individual decisions to individually liberate ourselves. So that's what I wish for us all for International Women's Day today. Minerva's here. She's just had her breakfast. She seems to not really like being on camera, but I'm quite glad that she's decided to come say hello right here, and she's smiling at everybody and she's sending you all good energy today. The other thing we did this weekend, which I could never have done if I didn't have some wonderful help from Demi, Dana, and Gabby, was that I moved my production laboratory from the current basement of the Sacred Well, into the expanded basement of the Sacred Well, which we've just recently taken over and rented. And so this new basement is much bigger. It's like 3 times the size of our old basement. And so I now have an amazing maker's laboratory, which I can't even tell you how grateful I am that I'm able to be in this beautiful old building, that I'm able to have help from wonderful other women who really did like a lot of heavy lifting and organizing this weekend. And I'm so excited about getting to go in there to make my products again. So that's me, just a little report from my weekend. And Minerva's, hello. Do you want to come say a quick hi? What do you think? Just like a quick one? She says hi. Oh, okay, we have her for like 1 second. Okay, good girl. You came and said hello. Oh, I love that. She's coming around to her celebrity status as a cat of the goddess. Yeah. I'm trying to play with this little mouse with her, but she just wants to cuddle. Okay, I'm going to give this here. I'm going to give this to you. Will you get it? Yep, she'll get it. And in the meantime, perfect for International Women's Day today, let's talk about Tara Jigje Chenmo. Number 6 of the 21 Taras is Tara Jigje Chenmo. She has a dark red, almost black. Her name means worthy of honor. Praise her, whom Indra, Agni, Vayu, and Brahma, all the worldly gods, make offerings to her. Demons, depraved ones, and all harmful spirits bow in deep and complete surrender to her. All beings are worthy of honor, as they possess the means of manifesting enlightened mind. This form of Tara encourages us to turn away from patterns of not respecting ourselves and therefore allowing ourselves to be used or abused. The worldly gods are those who are responsible for the elements of phenomenal appearance. Indra is the god of rain, Agni is the god of fire, Vayu is the god of wind, and Brahma is the god of physical creation. This aspect of Tara is completely secure in her power and in the fact that she is worthy of respect and honor. Because of her fully enlightened nature, she is above the worldly gods who are still bound to the wheel of becoming, the wheel of samsara. The state of liberation places one beyond samsara. Even the gods aspire to this accomplishment. Tara also subdues all malevolent spirits and cures the diseases caused by them. There's so much here to unpack. I won't be able to get through all of it, but I just want to focus on like two things from this. Number one is to really recognize how an enlightened being who has transcended worldly concerns is more powerful than a being who is subject to worldly concerns. This is an important distinction that the Dharma makes. The Dharma shows us that an enlightened being doesn't need anything from this world and only really is here to give to this world, because the enlightened being has freed herself from the needs of this world. Now, does this mean that if we like just, pack all our stuff in a van and detach, man, and go out there, that we'll be enlightened? Not necessarily. Our enlightenment isn't about ignoring the world that we live in. Our enlightenment really comes from recognizing the world we live in, recognizing the systems at play, recognizing that we are not inherently part of those systems, and recognizing that there's a system beyond this one that is the no system of enlightenment. And that once we attain that no system and we're in that enlightened state, we're going to look upon this world and see how depraved it is, how greedy it is, how starving it is, how wounded it is. And we're just going to want to give. We're just going to want to give. We're not going to want to take anything. It would be like if you're walking down the street and you've got $10 in your pocket and there's a person on the side of the street clearly who doesn't have a home and is disheveled. What if they walked up and tried to give you $1? That is enlightenment. That is enlightenment. It's knowing that what you have within you is more powerful than anything you could seem to need from without. So being goddesses on earth involves having the means to give beyond what we think is possible in our worldly format. Second thing I wanted to point out is that she subdues all malevolent spirits and cures disease caused by them. I want us to really focus today on our hearts, on our guts, on our internal organs, and really think about if there's any trauma, wounding, sorrow, pain, really difficult thing that's from your life that may have taken up residence as a negative force in one of your organs. If there is that kind of an energy, if you feel like ever since this thing happened, I've always had those heart palpitations, or ever since that thing happened, I've always had this indigestion, or for as long as I can remember from when I was abused, I have this thing that happens in my body. Really recognize that it's possible that a lesser form of consciousness, an unenlightened form of consciousness, has taken up residence inside your body as a result of your vulnerability. And your vulnerability was the result of trauma. If you've been through a trauma and you have a vulnerability as a result of that and you know it, today we're directing our Tara chanting to that part of our bodies, and we're going to send that demon packing. How can we be enlightened beings and still believe in demons? In an absolute sense, all of us have the primordially enlightened nature of Tara Jigje Chenmo. In a relative sense, we're not all aware of it. And so we have to do to pacify the parts of ourselves that are unenlightened with ritual, medicine, care. We have to take good care of the parts of ourselves that are unenlightened so that there's the hope that that primordially enlightened nature will stay stable and radiate forth from within. So that's our Tara for the day. Now let's see what our card is from the Dharma cards. Something got flipped over. Hang on. Oh, who's the one who flipped the cards? I wonder. Who could it be, Minerva? She knows that I'm about to start chanting. And whenever I start chanting, she's got this little spot and she goes and she lays down and she purrs and then she falls asleep. And then after I'm done chanting, when I turn the camera off and I turn the light off, I'll usually say, Minerva, and she comes out and then we have a little cuddle session. Hi, hi. She says, is it time? Well, I was just giving the example, but you're very literal because you're a tiny being. Very literal. But let's have a cuddle while I shuffle these. You want to pick the card today? What if I put the cards and you pick it? I'm going to see if she'll pick a card. Sometimes cats love to pick cards. Which one? Show me. Show me which card. Which one is it? She's like, it's all of them. I want them all spread all over the floor. Which one, Minerva? Show me. That one. Okay. All right. Minerva picked the card. She picked distractions. A very tiny little feline distraction if I ever met one. Busy yourself with thoughts of wealth and you will never know what lies within. One who shuns awareness perceives the truth like a spoon perceives the taste of soup. One who practices awareness perceives the truth like the tongue tastes the soup. Number 8. Oh, she brought me one of her little mouse toys. As long as you are preoccupied with your desires, you cannot know the real wealth you carry within. You must create a little distance from your cravings. Look for a small space that rests between what you had yesterday and what you want for tomorrow. This space is the present moment, and once you find it, you will begin to know the real richness of your being. Taste becomes more enjoyable when your mind is not busy with its distractions. Your touch becomes more sensitive. You see and hear more. You will have many more pleasurable sensations when you're not thinking so much. You will laugh and your seriousness will disappear. It's fine to enjoy what you have, whether it's external or internal. Life is abundant and happiness is a wonderful thing. Allow riches and abundance to be in your life, but don't try to grasp or possess them. The moment you do, you quickly become their slave. So we're going to today really think about what it means to have that difference between abundance and true wealth, which is that which sort of seems to spontaneously manifest to grace us and bless us with goodness, versus when we're on the hunt, when we're going to try to get it, when we feel like we need to grab it. So today, in whatever you have to do, whether you work for money or whether you're applying for a scholarship or whether you're applying for a job or whether you're doing your payroll protection stuff or whatever it is that you're doing, whatever you're doing for money today, especially about money, but not only limited to it, whatever you're doing today for interacting with abundance, wealth, prosperity, Make sure you're doing it from a casual place of understanding that in this relative sense, these things seem very real. But in the absolute sense, I already have everything that I need, everything that I could ever want, because I've got my spirit, and my spirit yields all goodness in my life. Let's just give that a try today. And we're going to now do our going in practice. So if you were just here for the short bit, that's it. If you were just here for Minerva, she's here for you. And now let's, for the rest of us, oh, she loves to take the tail off of the little mouse. It's her favorite thing. My tiny, tiny, mighty hunter. Go get it. Okay, I'm gonna now do my prostrations and we're gonna begin going in practice. And let's take refuge. Namo Guru Be. I take refuge in the inner teacher. Namo Buddhaye. I take refuge in the great mother of compassion. Namo Dharmaye. I take refuge in the wisdom of the ages. Namo Sanghaye. I take refuge in the community of practitioners. And let's set our intention, a person, place, situation, or circumstance that will benefit from today's practice. Today we are holding a man named Mohammed who is in Egypt awaiting final appeal on sentencing for a crime that he has been falsely accused of or that he has been persecuted with. We are also holding, Catherine's friend who is going for a final treatment today in a long process, but who is regaining strength. Please, not my toes. And let's recite the Four Immeasurables. May I be a source of loving kindness in this world and all worlds, bringing a generous heart to all my thoughts and doings. May I be a vehicle of compassion in this world and all worlds, ever mindful and aware of the tremendous suffering of others. May I be a brimming vessel of joy in this world and all worlds, delighting in the happiness of others as their suffering is alleviated. May I be a balance point of equanimity in this world and all worlds, seeing all as equals and all as deserving of goodness. We'll make our offerings.
I light this candle as a symbol of the enlightening Dharma way. May it shine brightly for the benefit of all beings. I light this incense as an offering to Guanxin and to Tara, she who hears the cries of the world, mother of all, and she who saves. Omahum. 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 Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and virtual. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the meditation of all holy and ordinary beings. Please, Guanyin, remain until the end of samsaric existence, and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of others to the great enlightenment. 108 recitations of Om Tare Tutare Ture Soha. As we call upon Tara, we particularly ask for Tara Jigje Shenmo to identify and help us identify anywhere inside of our bodies that trauma has lodged itself and has started to form itself into its own being. And we're asking Tara Jikje Chenmo to dissolve that trauma and to expel any demonic force from our bodies that may have taken root there as a result of our trauma. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu 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 Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha.
Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu 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 Re Soha. Om Tare Tu 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 Re Soha. Om Tare Tu 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 Re Soha. Om Tare Tu 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 Re Soha. Om Tare Tu 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 Re Soha. Om Tare Tu 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 Re Soha. Om Tare Tu 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 Re Soha. Om Tare Tu 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 Re Soha. Om Tare Tu 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 Re Soha. Om Tare Tu 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 Re Soha. Om Tare Tu 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 Re Soha. Chase those demons out. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Re Soha. Demons that cause disease, go. We're here for love. We're here for magic. And we're here for finding our way. Oh, good to hear. Nice to hear, Natalie. We're all doing well. Let's see. Oh, blessed be, Suchin. Thank you. Don't worry, Lisa. Hi, Demi. See a couple of people commenting here. We're chasing out those demons. So now we're going to listen to these aspirational words of Yeshit Sagil, which reminds us to be what's needed in the world. And then we're going to chant for everybody's demons to be chased out. Wherever there is space, 5 elements pervade. Wherever the 5 elements, the homes of living beings. Wherever living beings, karma and defilements. Wherever is defilement, my compassion also. Wherever is the need of beings, there I am to help them. To the hungry I was heaps of food and all good things, and thus I brought them joy. To the cold and freezing I was fire and sun warmth, thus their joy. To the poor and needy I was wealth and riches, thus their joy. To the naked I was every kind of raiment, thus their joy. To the childless I was sons and daughters, thus their joy. To those who sought a lover I was a loving and attractive consort, and thus their joy. To those who wanted magic powers I gave prowess in the 8 great cities, and thus I brought them joy. To the sick I was their remedy, and thus their joy. To the anguished I was all their mind desired, and thus I was their joy. To those hard-pressed by the punishments of despots, I was the loving friend to lead them to the land of peace, and I was thus their joy. To those in fear of wild beasts, I was a haven, thus their joy. To those who fell into the depths, I was their drawing out, and thus their joy. To those tormented in the fires, I was a quenching stream, and thus their joy. To those in prey to any of the elements, I was their medicine, and thus their joy. For those who could not see, I was their eyes and brought them joy. And for those who could not walk, I was feet, and thus their joy. I was a tongue for those who could not speak, and thus I brought them joy. To those in fear of death, I granted immortality, and thus I was their joy. I led the dying on the path of transference and brought them joy. To those who wandered in the bardo state, I was their spirit guide, bringing them to joy. I cooled the burning heat and warmed the cold of those lost in the realms of hell. Howsoever they were tortured, I changed myself to shield them, being thus their joy. To those who lingered in the land of hungry ghosts, I was their food and drink, and thus their joy. I was freedom from oppression and servitude for those caught in the wordless state of beasts, and thus I brought them joy. Those beings born in places of war, I protected them from strife and brought them joy. I was a truce from endless conflict for the demigods, and was thus their joy. The jealous gods I guarded from their bitter fall, and I was thus their joy. I shielded all from everything that tortured them, and was their every joy. There's a lot of reasons why we may have in our lives some energy that has traumatized us, wounded us, hurt us, that has lashed us to some arc of pain. And lots of different people go through this same experience. And even though it doesn't really feel good to know that we're not alone, it does kind of feel good to know that we're not alone, I suppose, in samsara. But what we do when we're here in samsara is we try and bring forward that enlightened nature that needs nothing and wants to give everything. So what we just gave ourselves, chasing out our demons, chasing out any negative energies within us, what we just gave ourselves in that Tara chanting, now we're going to give to the world with 108 recitations of Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 And let's give thanks for our teachers. May all of my blessed teachers enjoy long, happy, healthy, productive lives and great support for their good works. May all beings benefit from their wisdom. May they enjoy a swift and happy rebirth. And long life prayer for Lama Decinishi Wangmo. Om Sosti. Through the powerful blessings of the immortal Pema Jungye and his consort, may the three secret qualities of the Dakini of Supreme Bliss, Yeshe Wangmo, be utterly stable, and may the light of her activities shine on the lotus groves of the teachings and of beings, so that they blossom in radiant splendor. And let's dedicate the merit. May the merit of this practice and all of my activities be of endless benefit to all beings in all realms, beginningless and continuous. May all obstacles be overcome and suffering cease at the sound of liberation. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May we carry the essence of Guanyin and Tara in our hearts. Namo Guan Shiyin Pusa and Om Tare Tutare Ture Soha. And we'll close with a bow to the goddesses, bow to one another, and bow to the inner teacher. And today, let's really try to be present, and especially if we have any difficult or bad feelings, especially if we have any discomfort in our bodies, we're going to pay attention and say, is it possible that there's a pain or a trauma living in there that has formed itself into like a little being? And is it possible that Tara Jigje Shenmo, dark red Tara, who stamps her feet, comes in and changes the dynamics, might come in and chase that away? Let's try. And don't forget to drop your counts. Thank you, Sarah, 108 and 108. And I will be back tomorrow. Bye. Bye, YouTube.